Alright, welcome back my fellow Synchron enjoyers. So you've probably seen my video from a few days ago where I talked about replacing Baronne with one of these. And yeah, I went with this one for now, but I also tried out the hot red, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So this is going to be like another combo type / card discussion video, and that's why Librarian is here as well. Because I found that in your main combo lines, if you want to go for triple hand rip, you don't use Librarian that much, which brings up the question, is it even justified to run Librarian anymore? I think he could still have a place in the deck, because if you look at like the Herald lines, for example, I find myself going into Librarian much more often. And even in your standard combo, as we've seen previously, you could go with Librarian or without. Depends on if you're willing to sacrifice the third hand rip or not. So again, what are we gonna do from here? Do we always go for triple hand rip? Or are we still keeping the Librarian in for the variety? Yeah, so we're gonna check out some end boards with either the clear wing or the hot red, and then talk about what's better potentially. All right, so let's quickly look at Rite and Chat again, just because, you know, it's our super standard combo that we all know and love. And we check out the two different possibilities here, where we can either end on one of those, with or without Librarian, you know. So we start off with activating the Rite, getting Fateful. Then we activate Fateful to search the Griffin Rider and discarding one card in our hand. Then we special the Griffin, normal the Jet. All nice and standard here. Go for XL, chain 1, chain 2. We get the Draco back and bring back the Jet, and then we can tribute. Summon and go into the Junk Speeder. Then Speeder does its thing and gives us the Fortuners, and Stardust adds to the Illumination. So from here on I'm gonna show a line without Librarian, which is a bit more modified than the last one. So shoutouts to this person here for mentioning it. Thanks a lot. So what we're gonna do here is we go Crystal Wing as we are used to. Then we go Illumination to bring out the Trail. Make some room via bringing out the Crimson Dragon. And this is where the line changes. We Synchro summon Trail and the Assault off for the charge. And then we can go Charge chain 1 and Trail chain 2. We get the token and a draw 1. And here we can do something pretty cool. I never thought about that actually before. So thanks again to the suggestion. We activate Illumination, and then we can either increase the token or the assault level by 1. So we have 1 and 2 equals 3, plus 6 is 9. And this gives us the hard summon of Trishula, which is pretty cool, I think. So we activate Trishula effect and rip 1. And from there we have two ways we can use Crimson Dragon. So we go Revolution here to bring him out. And we can either go Crimson Dragon now, target Trishula to get out Hot Red. Or we could Synchro into this pattern and then go Crimson Dragon, target to bring out the Crystal Clear Wing. In this case, it's really, you can play one or the other, it doesn't really matter. So let's say we have Hot Red now. Then we go Stardust Synchron, tribute one of these, and then go Trail and Assault to bring back this pattern. And then you can go Omega, go for a hand rip, this pattern bring back the Omega, and you rip another one. All right, then let's have a quick look at the librarian line. As we're used to going into librarian. Next we go Crimson Dragon. Librarian draws a card. And then we go and tribute the Assault for Stardust, Synchron and Trail. And then we pitch one for Jet. And then we go Excel, chain 1 Librarian, chain 2 Trail to get a token. Then we get a draw. Then we use Excel to dump Stardust to make him level 9. And then we can go Crimson Dragon, target the Excel to go for Hot Red if we play Hot Red. Otherwise we would go Dispatcher first, like before, draw a card, and then we go into Crystal Clearwing, and then we banish to make Stardust Synchron level 3 and go for Omega. With that being said, with those two being interchangeable, you know, I'm kind of getting to the conclusion that I asked the question, is the Librarian still worth it? Because we are missing out on one hand rip, getting the same board, but we just have like 2 additional cards. And what could these cards be? Like there's not really an extender that provides more that we could draw. The only thing is drawing into like talents or droplets, for example, to reinforce that board, so we're not completely dependent on just our monster board. But on the other point, you know that what this deck is about. This deck is just about like making a huge board and just see if your opponent can out it or not. Am I right? Yeah, I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Is Librarian justified? For the standard lines, I think not. Like if you only focus on your standard Rite and Chat combo, I think Librarian isn't needed anymore. You could cut him and play something else instead. But before we fully jump to that conclusion, I would say let's check out some more different lines, because you're not always gonna go for Rite and Chat. We still have other 2-card variations that we have to take into account. And speaking of another line, let's have a look at the Herald line. I really like this one because the guy that's all about Herald of the Arclight is not only an Omni-Negate, but also prevents our opponent from using hand traps like Ghost Ogre, Effect Veiler, and Droll Lockbird. So yeah, let's have a look. So we start with Overtake, get the Chat Synchron out, then we normal summon the Enchantress, and we are Synchro summoning Herald of the Arclight. Then we go Enchantress to add the Rite, which we're going to activate right away, getting the Fateful Adventure and the token. And then we want to go Jet Effect, discarding a spell trap from hand to summon him out. And then you could go Fateful to add the Griffin Rider here, but I tried that and I don't think it's that great. You could do if you hard open the trail, like I showed in my combo blockbuster, but yeah, let's just keep it simple for now and just go Speeder right away. We go chain 1 Speeder, chain 2 Fateful, so we can protect him from Ash Blossom. And then we get out our tuners. Stardust grabs the Illumination. And here, what I like to do is climbing my way up to a Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. So we draw one and summon the Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, bring back the Jet. And then we used to go Illumination to summon Trail and then access a Librarian here, which we're still gonna do. We go Librarian, and then we can go Excel Effect, tribute him for Stardust, and then go into Crimson Dragon. And then we go chain 1, chain 2 Librarian, and chain 3 Assault Synchron to bring back the Excel Synchro. And we draw 2. Then what we can do here, we go for Illumination, target the Excel to make him level 7, which gives us access to this pattern. And we draw another one. And then we can go Crimson Dragon, target this pattern to go for the Crystal Clearwing, which draws another card. And then Stardust, Tribute TG, bring out Trail, and then go Omega. And then we can do the double hand trip shenanigans again. That would be the Herald Line if you run Crystal Clearwing. We can check out one with Hot Red as well, but I think Hot Red one is much worse. Alright, so let's go right back to this point where we climbed up into Excel. What we can do here is we activate Excel's effect again to get out the Stardust Dragon and then the Crimson Dragon. Activating Assault Synchron's effect to bring the Excel back. Go Illumination to specially Trail and then activate Illumination. So he is a level 9. Then we go Crimson Dragon, summon Hot Red. And then we can go Dispatter with those two. And then we can tribute the Revolution Synchron for the Stardust Synchron and go for Omega there. As you can see, basically the same board, but we draw one card compared to 6 or whatever it was in the other combo. Alright, so the last line I want to look at today is Diabellstar and then Extender, like Fenrir in this example. So we start off with Fenrir, adding Fenrir, and then we go Diabellstar, pitching the Fenrir to get the original. And then we go original, send Diabellstar to bring out Jet. We go into Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, activating both effects. For example, chain 1 Excel, chain 2 Jet, to add the Chunk Servant and bring the Jet back. Then we normal summon Servant, go Excel effect to get out Speeder. Speeder resolves. Bringing out our tuners, Stardust grabs the Illumination. Then we go for the Crystal Wing, bring out the Trail, and then we can, go the non-librarian route, summon Crimson, use a Stardust Charge, chain 1, chain link 2 Trail, draw 1, then go Illumination, increase to go Trish. And then, it's the same as before. You could go Rev here to revive. And then you go Crimson, target Trish to bring out Hot Red. Or you wait and go Dispatter first and then do Crimson Dragon to bring out Crystal Clearwing. So that's the exact same combo as before. You still have your Stardust Synchron effect left to tribute a dragon off to bring back Trail and the dragon itself with Assault Synchron. So if you go for a non-librarian route with this kind of combo, it doesn't matter if you hard open Jet or if you're doing the Junk Servant line. The only difference obviously is that the Junk Servant line is a bit weaker to hand traps. And for the Librarian line, we just go back here. Go Crimson and draw 1. Next we go Stardust and bring out Trail. And then we wanna mill for Revolution Synchron. which then gets the XL. We draw one and we get a token and draw one, and then we can send to make level 9. Either target the XL now to bring out Hot Red, or you could hold, go for this pattern first, draw another one, and then you can go Crimson into Crystal Clear and draw another one. And then you have your level modulate with Illumination left to get into Omega. And with that end board here in mind, let's talk about the difference between Hot Red and a Crystal Clear Wing. So the first thing I want to mention is Hot Red's strength that he has over the Crystal Clear Wing, in my opinion, is you can still negate some stuff even if your opponent chain blocks. Like for example, if he special summons something and discards a card to the graveyard that triggers then, and he goes chain link 1, the monster on free field, chain link 2, the card in graveyard, you can still work around with Hot Red because it's like Effect Veiler, you know, you can just target the card you want to negate. So this is not chain blockable. This can also be a weakness when we take cards like Droplet into account, because then your opponent could just go like, I don't know, activate any spell card that's high impact, and you go Hot Red, target the spell card. They could just use Droplet, send the spell card away, like for a Talents, for example. You target the Talents, and they go, okay, send the Talents, and then they don't have to negate the Hot Red. They can just go for Crystal Wing or the Spada, whichever you haven't used yet. So that basically gives them 3 value because you have depleted your Hot Red for nothing, which compared to Crystal Clear Wing, if they activate a spell card and you negate it with Crystal Clear Wing, and they chain Droplet to send, if they want that spell card to resolve, they have to negate the Crystal Clear Wing, and then your other cards are still live, which, you know, might come up actually, because I think Droplet is going to be a pretty popular card this format. Like, for example, Tenpai Dragon running it, they going second. Be prepared to encounter Droplet, I would say. And I'm not sure if Hot Red is the correct choice there. On the other hand, the Crystal Clear Wing isn't an Omni-Negate. So if your opponent goes like all monsters or does some chain blocking, like I said, this guy is just useless. So what do you think is better? Hot Red or Crystal Clear Wing? And more important than this question, because I think the combos now just showed that these two are really kind of interchangeable. It doesn't matter that much what you run, depends on what you think is better. And then, you know, let's talk about Librarian. Do you think that he's still worth it? Or do you think we could really cut it? My point of view is that running TG is still worth it, but you can go without, you don't have to use him with the Junk Servant line. But I think, especially looking at the Herald line, Librarian just comes up. I mean, you could cut him and replace him with Scarlight, for example, but during testing, there was not a single scenario, just from a combo ability point of view, there wasn't a single instance where I felt I need to climb into a Scarred and then go into Hot Red. So the only other thing then is, if we look at a time scenario or going second, theoretically, if you have enough extenders to still go speeder afterwards, you could do shenanigans like, I don't know, you know, go Diabell Star, Special Jet, Diabell Star and Jet, climb into the Swan, activate effect to do the board wipe, and then go Jet effect Engrave to make a Hot Red. And then, you know, if your hand is that insane and you still have Rite and and I don't know, Synchro overtake left or something, you can go into speeder afterwards and you are still kind of protected from imperm and stuff, because you then have your hot red negate up. But that's pretty niche. Like most of the time, I think you would make this card when it's kind of a time scenario, you know, you just combo off, and then when you would go into Omega, you could go into him. Just make sure you have some smaller monsters left on the board, and then you go like do damage and continue comboing, or then pass. Depends on how much time's left on the clock. You could also really go for, if you decide to cut Librarian, you could play Shenshen then I see this card having a place in the deck. It's just another generic level 9 option compared to Croc. I also see myself, at least during standard combo lines, I see myself rarely go into Croc since we lost Baron. Because I mean, he's a good spot, he's a nice spot removal, but at the end of the day, pre-ban list he could be like a stepping stone to a Baron, and that option is gone. So you could make an argument for cutting the Croc. I think it still can come up in scenarios where you draw Stardust Trail or something, or where you draw into the second Stardust Synchron and therefore cannot utilize the Excel Synchron. Or you could play these two for more going second utility. When it comes to climbing up, like for example, as we saw during the Herald Line, when you climb up into Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. Now our only option is climbing via the Stardust Charge to draw, but you could then just climb the other way around and go Speeder and Assault Synchron first into one of these to out something, and then further climb into an Excel Synchro. So these could be another possibility as you know, utility synchros. But for now, I think I will stick with Librarian and yeah, probably go with the Crystal Clearwing. And I think as much as I like Hot Red and what it provides, I think with the rising popularity of Droplet, that's probably going to be expected. I think the Crystal Clearwing is the better option. So yeah, I'm probably going to keep the extra deck as I showed in my previous video. At least for now. I mean, sure, I will do further testing, and maybe I find scenarios where, you know, I see myself not using Croc anymore, and then maybe I cut the Croc for a level 7 Synchro, because sometimes a level 7 would be nice, or I cut him for or I cut it for a Shenshen, or even a Hot Red, because I don't know, maybe in some simplified game states it just comes up to go into Hot Red, and then bring back a tuner after battle phase, and then continue your plays during main phase 2. Yeah, but with that being said, what's your take on this? Yeah, feel free to drop your opinions down in the comments, and see you in the next one.